Hi, I'm Tessa Brock with Tessa Brock Consulting, and I just wanted to take a minute and just connect with you about some of the things I've been thinking about. The first thing that I just wanted to highlight is I've been thinking a lot about what a friend of mine has called this moral moment, where we really are highlighting and finally really calling attention and moving on the social injustices that are occurring every single day for people of color. And as I think about that, and I think about as I am committed to working as hard as I can to be trauma informed, I'm reminded of the 4 R's from SAMHSA. And SAMHSA is the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration. And they have what are called the 4 R's of being trauma informed. And I'm going to read those to you really fast. What they talk about is they're talking about systems and organizations. In my opinion, we also are talking about individuals and us as ourselves. And so we apply these concepts to ourselves. And so it says the 4 R's of being trauma informed are a program, organization, or system, or I would say an individual, that is trauma informed realizes, the first R, the widespread impact of trauma and understands potential paths for recovery. Number 2, recognizes the signs and symptoms of trauma in clients, families, and staff, and others involved in the systems. 3, responds by fully integrating knowledge about trauma into policies, procedures, and practices, and seeks to actively resist re-traumatization. So as I hear those 4 R's, we hear realizes, recognizes, responds, and resists re-traumatization. I think about this moral moment that we are moving through. I think about how important it has been for me for the past 2 months to actively focus on shutting up and just listening. There's a lot for me to learn. Being a person who has had a lot of privilege, I have a lot of blind spots. I have a lot of passion for wanting things to be equal and for things to be fair and just. And I also have not had lived experiences that inform me to know how to have the right voice. And so I have really spent the last 2 months working hard to be quiet and to just listen and learn and to educate myself more, knowing that I have so much still to learn. I also then feel like at some point I then have a responsibility to have a voice when it is time. But what I noticed about myself early on was wanting to interject into a conversation that was not my conversation to be having. It was my job in the circles I was in was to shut up and listen and to learn and to hear and to hold the space for the pain that was being expressed. I was being trauma-informed to the best of my ability. I then think that as a person of privilege who has a small platform, to be able to then find ways to have a voice, to be an advocate, to be an ally, to do what I know to do to the best of my ability in my very flawed way, but the best I know how, to be part of making a difference. So I just thought that it would be helpful for us to just connect together in this virtual way about being able to remember those 4 R's whenever we hear in this moral moment someone expressing their pain or their hurt or the injustices they've experienced. The importance of us remembering those 4 R's, that a person of color has experienced things I can't comprehend, things I do not understand. And yet it is my job, if I want to be part of the solution and I want to be part of making a difference, it's my job to hold the space. It's my job to listen. It's my job to learn. It's not my job to have anything to say. It's not my job to have to interject. It's my job to listen and learn, not expect them to teach me. There's a difference. And then when I have an opportunity, when I'm around those I may have influence with, I need to find ways to keep that door open, because the other thing I noticed about myself is early on, I was so offended. I was so angry because things were slapping me in the face that others, people of color, have been living all of their lives. It wasn't new to them. It was traumatic to them, but it was not news to them. For me, it was entering me in a very different way, and I had a lot of passion and a lot of energy around it. But I ended up slamming doors in conversations with people because I came across too strong. I was too passionate. I was too angry. And for me, and I can only speak for myself, but for me, what I noticed I have to figure out how to do is, let me back up. So part of what I recognize is I myself have been on a journey. There are things I didn't know. There are things I would have said 3 months ago that I won't let myself say now because I've learned. And part of that is because someone has had the kindness or the courage to mention something to me, to bring something to my attention. And it has been their loving, gentle way of doing that that has allowed me to internalize that and to be able to shift. Part of what I think about is that being a person of privilege means that I am quiet when I need to be quiet, when it's not my conversation to have. And I also fully embrace that there are times when I may have a position of influence. I may have a position of I may have the opportunity to have a voice. I was in a conversation with someone recently who had a very different frame of mind, making some derogatory statements, felt very differently about things than I do. And I noticed inside myself and in my chatter in my head, I was like, I will never speak to this person again. I do not like this person. I will never speak to this person again. And then I heard that second voice in my head say, if you slam the door, who will talk to them about this? Right? So I took a deep breath and I said, I see it differently. Is it okay if I share my perspective? And by the end of the conversation, I hadn't quote unquote converted them, which is a joke. I don't mean that, but I hadn't necessarily completely changed their frame of mind, but I had noticed that I had done a good enough job in the conversation that they were reflecting on some of the things I said. For me, I feel like that is how I will begin to have inroads and to have influence. I'm going to make lots of mistakes. I'm going to stumble. I'm going to say things the wrong way. And I know I'm going to do the best I can because it's important to me. I want to be a voice. I want things to be different. I want to be part of the solution. I want equality. I want justice. I want things to be fair. And I know I have a lot to learn. And I welcome you to be on this journey with me as we continue to use these trauma-informed principles to guide us around this moral moment that we are moving through. And I know that together we can do better and we can be better. And I'm hopeful. And I want us to stay the course and I want us to not give up because I believe in us.